So herb spiral. If we look at a herb spiral, what is a design consideration? So any of these things we look at, we need to step another step and say, why did someone do it? Aspect, vertical aspect. We can create microclimates. Remember, sunny and shady, wet and dry. So that creates the varying conditions for growth, and different species would be available within that space. And then we can still interlock those in different patterns if we like. A banana circle, why would we want to do something like that? Well, benefits. We can put our compost scraps into the center in the mulch pit. Any excess water from showers to washing your hands can go there. It could contain an outdoor shower, so your outdoor shower could be in the center of your banana circle, and then your water goes right into the banana circle. And if I live in a temperate climate and I can't grow bananas, what could I put in the circle? What about berries? Black currants. What's another good berry, right? So I can have a berry circle as well as I could have a banana circle in the tropics. Any of these things can produce fruit, fiber, or any plant matter like we did our birds of paradise today. We have excess birds of paradise. We use it to make fertilizer for our veggies. So how do I create one of these things? Super simple. Dig a 2-meter circle in a dish shape. Throw the dirt to the outside to create the growing ridges. Cover the sides with cardboard, bananas, leaves, or mulch, any type of mulch that you may have. Add the middle layers of twigs, hay, anything you go clean your garden, throw it into the pit that you have created. Build these materials up into 15 centimeter layers, and they'll come over the top. At this point, plant your papayas, bananas, berries, or whatever you would like along that edge. Mulberries, okay, could easily be a mulberry circle. Sweet potatoes, any kind of climbing vines if you'd like. So yam and taro can be planted inside the rim, right? Inside the more wet area to the more outside area, and put it next to a water source. So I wash my clothes, take a bath, shower, wash my hands. There we go. Keyhole garden bed. Gardens can make use of the keyhole pattern, which maximizes space and yield. How do I make one? Well, here I need about a 2-foot path to walk in. I need about a 1-meter circle to turn around. And a double reach garden bed is about 4 foot or 1.2 meters. If it's further than that, what will happen is I'll tend to can't reach the center and I'll step into the bed and I'll compress my soils, right? If I want it to be wider, I'd have to have vertical aspect, okay? You can look at mandala gardens, okay? They beautify your landscape, so we have to find a balance of efficiency and beauty. This is what's playing with here. And they can help to maximize productivity by creating more edge and this concept of maximum garden, least path. Right, so least path design. Chicken or tractors. So there's a little dome. You can see there in the foreground, the upper picture, where the tractor is now, and every time they move it, so then the garden. So the chickens are preparing the garden. They're de-weeding and de-seeding that garden, de-insecting. They even eat insects. And then you plant and you follow. So you could have a circle rotation, so you create a pattern where you're just moving the chicken tractor. What if we have interlocked patterns? So this is a hexagon. Hexagons within a hexagon, and inside of the hexagons broke into triangles with circles that are each representing a chicken tractor. And then I could make hexagons and hexagons to what is the benefits? What's the limitations? Maybe movement. It gets too complicated. So I have to find the balance of the sufficient movement for scale. So everything I do has to be related to scale and ergonomics, right? When we're talking about today, the watering, the thing, can I get it out? Have to bend over. This is all work that I have to do over and over again. So I do my best to get started, and then I try to work for better ergonomics and work on scale. So geometric domes, really great way to get started. Just a little bit of seed, we'll work with it later. If I go to my place and I got to build something, first I go there, I buy some land, I got to stay in a tent. So I show up, I put my tent down. Cool, where do I put my tent? Well, I don't put my tent where my house goes, right? Because then I can't build my house. And then I probably don't put my tent where the little bungalow goes, because I need to build a bungalow before I build my house. Because it's better to build a little small bungalow that could be your potting shed, could be your tool room, could be any of these things that you want to have later, or a guest house. And then when I live in that, because that's right, I get out the tent, I live in that while I build my normal house. So these are relationships to leapfrogging. We're in a building that was a dorm, right? And we had the classroom in the sala, and that we can leapfrog as the place develops. So a geometric dome can help you with that. It's very cheap, inexpensive. Even look at this one. I buy some pipe, I make a geometric dome, probably costs me about $200 in materials. I get a tarp, big truck tarp, put it over the top of the dome. I go buy hay bales. I lay hay bales over the dome. I then get another truck tarp and lay it over the top. Really nice insulated tent, right? I go through the winter. At the end, the next year, I take the hay and I mulch my garden because I had built my house or my bungalow. These are just concepts to like work through. Walk before you run. Don't get like, I need to have too much stuff. And at the end, I still have the structure, and that's a trellis. Yeah? So it was my tent to my trellis, and we think about where we would place that as it changed over time. Yurts are really convenient. So I could get me a yurt, and I could, I stay in the yurts better than a tent, and then afterwards I could rent it, these type of things, whatever. Round houses, super easy to build, right? As I said, just prop up the support. You can see how strong it is, people demonstrating that. So super easy. Also look into, like if you do a roundhouse, having the yin and yang spiral in the center gives you the privacy. So when you walk in, it's open and it gets more private as it goes around. Even to the back part of the spiral is the shower. So it's an open, there's no wall. So you have to walk all the way around to get to the shower. So the shower, bed, living room, door. Okay, and bamboo, super cool. Celebrating patterns. We see this all the time. People making these super crazy structures. What are they doing? They're celebrating patterns with this intricate framework. So you could play with that. And kind of ending with the concept though. A good pattern has a fixed order. Okay, we have to be able to design it and replicate it. Any element will only work if it's designed to scale. If you get the scale off, it's kind of messed up. You need to design to scale ergonomics. Like I talked about the bench, the first bench we made, it's kind of not the most comfortable bench in the world. Its scale ergonomics were off. It didn't work. And size need to be dictated by the ability to harvest. For instance, if I'm in a garden, like arm's length. So what am I doing with this thing dictates its size. So here's a great one. Check out that. That's a raised bed, keyhole herb spiral. It's kind of crazy. Seems to work, right? So we see one thing that builds on another, steal like an artist. I see pictures. When I want to go do something, I have inspiration, and we can work through that. And you can work through lots more things that we'll come to, but like artificial rivers and artificial landscapes. Why do we create water to go in these straight lines when we could create something of a more naturalized landscape? So repeating patterns through waterways management could be a naturalized way of looking at things versus what we've been kind of adopted into, this very linear design. And now we're looking at more of an organic design. We can take advantage of patterns through our design. How do we do that? Remember your seasons. My seasons give me organization. Composting cycles can be driven by seasons. If I do my composting in the right season, it's less work. For instance, if I try to compost like tomorrow in the dry season, which will be very educational for you, I'm going to have to use a lot of water. If I did the same composting cycle in the rainy season, I wouldn't have to water. That's energy and time. We can lose flows of water. That's our topography. How do we slow down, spread out, sink in, and utilize water flow? Water is energy. You can get all the sun. Sun's easy. But if I don't have water, I can't utilize the sun. So we need to understand that we have both. Sun and water makes life. We need to create microclimates. The more microclimates that you can make, the more diverse your landscape, and the easier your job will be, because it'll create a more diverse landscape for the workers, our facilitators and translators. If we do that by mimicking natural ecosystems, right? That's what we're trying to do. Understand how it would grow naturally. I mimic it. I can obtain a yield. I do that by trapping energy as much as I can. Creating energy traps where the energy cannot leave my system, and if there's a leak, I try to plug it and put it back. And nothing should leave. That's no waste. If you have energy leaving your system and it's not utilized prior, then it's a waste. Then we observe and we fix our systems. It's an organic design, and I try to capture that energy, put it back in. That's basically what we're doing. So that's called pattern application and design. So design in patterns, zone sectors, site analysis, edge and stacking, association, ergonomics, and apply permaculture principles throughout. So that's a big introduction. That kind of leads to, we've finished the introduction to permaculture, right? And tomorrow we get into what? No, design. we start to design, and design leads us into systems-based thinking, right? So how do I think in systems, all right? So this is where I want to look at this pattern application, right? Appreciate that these are like seeds that we're going to start watering. So that's not that you're going to learn that all today. That was just like, think about it. But that's what we want to try to get through over the next, week. How do we actually doing those things to get a more experience? I get some experience in doing those things. I get experience touching those things, and then I say, okay, I can do that. So that's what we want to look into. All right.